listeners, here you are with me, Parisha Jansambang, in the topic that you would like to know and we would like to show you. For today's topic, we are going to talk about Singapore policy towards women. Let me tell you the overall history about Singaporean women in the history, how they were oppressed by the society and by the mindset. In the period after their independence, the state of Singapore has developed a good and strong governance inspired by the Confucius principle. As you can see, there are a statue in the Chinese garden in Singapore as well, as you can see in the left pictures. In the period after their independence, the state of Singapore has developed a good and strong governance inspired by the Confucius principle by seeing men as soldiers and women as naturally mothers, wives, and daughters, so-called the patriarchy society. Even though the role of women also plays a significant role in Singaporean society and economy, yet the marginalization from the patriarchal conceit made the women's achievements, voices, and even values have often been overlooked by the society. By all means, according to its patriarchal mindset, females were oppressed by their root cultures, norms, and even policy creating based on this logic. As they are servants who need to serve for male, a head of household, doing housework and childcare stuff, along with being one of the country's economic force, while men's roles were only associated with the work and earning an income. In that way, it leaves women in Singapore have long been denied equal respect and participation in societies because of the widespread and ingrained discriminatory attitudes toward gender. To be more explicit, here's an example of the problems that Singaporean women has been faces and struggle. The first one, women were expected to get married regardless of their achievement and ambitions. As I told you, the society sees women as a mother, a wife, and they put the value on the women on they have to get married. If they were left out in the shelf, it means that there's a worthless in the society. The second one is the society trying to open women who want careers. In the Singaporean society, they see that women, they do not have to finding a job or the careers. All they have to do is just to doing the housework, the childcare, and that stuff. For the third one, the education of girls was seen as pointless. As I told you, in Singapore, women will see that they don't have to learn that much or study that much. For the fourth one, the prospects for women were limited, even worse for those who were uneducated. Women's voice always overlooked by the society. And it even worse if you are a woman who are uneducated. The point number 5 is an idea of unfair economic earning power and job opportunity. Based on the statistic, the earning power, the salary that women can get are usually 20% lower than the men can get in the Singaporean society. Lastly, in point number 7, from the statistic, women pay tax more than men on the same product. Gender-based price discrimination whereby goods and services targeted at women are more expensive than similar goods and services for men, and this is called the pink tax. There are also many policies created by the Singaporean government under the patriarchal mindset, which leads the women in inequality and struggles. As I told you earlier, Kunfa Rashida Peganon will tell you about the policies that created by Singaporean government that oppress the women in Singapore.
Thank you, Nam. And next I will describe more about the policy of Singapore at that time. And I will show you how the policy limit the freedom of Singaporean women. So let's begin. For the first policy is Stop at 2 policy. And why this policy? It is because in 1920 to 1922, the crude birth rate began to rise from 22.1 to 23.1 per 1,000 less than. And why this birth rate began to rise? First, the baby boomer of the post-war year were getting married and beginning to have children of their own. Second, many people were still planning for a large family with at least 3 children. So the government decided to step up its family planning effort and revise the small family message, exhausted by previous family planning campaign. And the new message specified that couples, especially those who had lower education and those who formed the lower income group, that should not have more than 2 children. And at that time, government launched a policy to encourage people to have a small family, such as reduction of income tax relief to cover only the first 3 children. Second, progressive increment of childbirth fee charged in government hospital based on birth order. And third, reduction of paid maternity leave from 3 to 2 confinements. And fourth, lowering the priority for allocation of HDB flats for families with more than 2 children. And the government continued organizing social campaigns promoting family planning at the national level. This campaign produced and distributed multilingual publicity materials, such as booklets or posters, to help couples make informed decisions when planning for a family. And this campaign became very successful. As you can see, from 1972 to 1986, the coup birth rate dropped from 23.1 to 14.8 per 1,000 less than. And here is the criticism of this policy. First, women sits at the state economic and demographic goal. Because when states want to increase number of population, they will launch the policy to encourage people to have more children. But when they want to limit number of population, they're gonna launch the policy to limit them. So this shows the limitation of Singaporean women. And for the another opposite view, this policy can allow women to have more autonomy over their bodies.
However, the father of Singaporean women has triumphed again during the Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. Since he has a goal to create equal opportunities, not equal results, this means that his basic attitude towards women was one of respect and set the tone for gender equality in the society. He believed that the traditional notion of male dominance were outdated and must change in this time. As a consequence, he always valued education, and this has helped women to get education and also get a job. For example, that you can see from this process. Singapore experience has been once women are educated equally with men and given them the same job opportunities. Moreover, on 2006, he also said that a better start would be to educate the young, especially the women, and give them equal job opportunities. One of the reasons that Lee Kuan Yew tried to encourage the Singapore workforce in the society that create the opportunity for women to get an education and get a job in the future. Because one of the important resources in Singapore society is workforce. So he had to encourage another half of his workforce, which is women, to gain a basic education and gain a job in the future to encourage and boost up Singaporean economy. Even Lee Kuan Yew tried his best to encourage women to gain a job opportunity, but the problem is still there. So another policy that we will describe is about the policy that try to encourage women to get an education, get a job, and get a children.
According to the Stop at 2 policy campaign, this campaign was targeted at the uneducated batch of the citizens who were deemed to contribute lesser to the economy. After the 1980 census, the state became concerned that better educated women were reproducing at lower rate than less educated women, and that graduate women in particular were remaining single. In his 1983 National Day rally speech of Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, he worried about that. The following generation might be deprived of the talented. Mr. Lee believed that better educated would produce more intelligent, talented offspring, and that it was important to ensure that graduate women has more children. The Graduate Mother Scheme in 1984 provided further proof when the government encouraged graduate women to marry and have more children, and encouraged the male Singaporean to choose higher educated wives and give out more incentives for higher educated mothers
to have 3 or more children. Under the new graduate mother priority schemes, children of graduate mother with at least 3 children would receive top priority in primary 1 registration in a school of their choice. For women with 5 or level classes, they would enjoy enhanced child relief that increases from the first to the third child. And for the criticism of this policy, some critics note that even without a population control campaign, Singapore's birth rate would still decline as the society become more developed. The rising number of higher educated individuals who were less willing to start a family at an early age would be unavoidable. Therefore, graduated women feel it was unfair for them, as evidences in the landmark forum in 1984, Women's Choice, Women's Life, leading to the formation of the Association of Women for Action and Research, whose first position paper was on the issue of population policy. Afterwards, as it caused an uproar in the public and press, the stream was eventually scrapped a year later.
Today we are going to interview some of the Singaporean local women. Alright, let me the first one.
As Singapore women, personally, I think we have been got very oppressed by the state. Thus, the women organizations have floundered. Today, I will provide you deeper details of the women organization. So, let's begin with our organization. In late 1984, a group of women who had taken part in the seminar Women's Choices, Women's Life decided they need to do more than just make or listen to speech about the situation of women in Singapore. Thus, our word form. They officially came into being on 25 November 1985. It's a not-for-profit organization that advocates for gender equality and provides critical support service for women in Singapore. It's a registered charity with Institute of Public Character status. Apart from our women organization, before that, there are several of women's organizations emerged to express the light of Singaporean women. Firstly, the Singapore Council of Women Organization SCWO was incorporated in 1980. The idea of SCWO is equal space, equal voice, and equal vote for women in Singapore. SCWO is represented on various government and interministry committees as well as regional and international bodies where it contributes views in the areas of family, women, and gender equality. SCWO mission is to actively inform, advocate, and educate and work towards the goal of embracing the status of women and being the voice for women in Singapore. Moreover, there are various organizations which cooperated to the lives of women in Singapore. Organizations, for example, the National Trade Union Congress or NTUC, and Women's Program Committee and the People Association PA. Last, WECS is the organized activities and program to galvanize women from all walks of life to promote community building, nurture the young, and help the less fortunate. So, I give the sample for everyone is to show that Singaporean women, even they are separate their life by Singapore government for a long period of time and treated like the bird in cage. However, they still see the value and try to make a move for the equalize in the society.
Alright, thank you so much, Priya, for the information from the Singaporean woman perspective. Let me conclude. As you can see in Singapore, gender equality has come a long way, but it has not come far enough. The gender gap is still unconscionably wide. It will not close until women's work is recognized as equal work. Caregiving is acknowledged as the labor it is. And sexual perpetrators are held accountable for their actions. In the present, there is an encouraging the company to be a pro-family and woman-friendly. Yet, this change in women position was not accompanied by the commensurate change in patriarchal mindset. Despite their transition out of home and into the workplace, women were still seen as responsible for household tasks and caring for the family only. Women's empowerment and autonomy were not necessarily seen as the desirable aims in themselves, but as instruments for achieving economic growth. In short, Singaporean government still sees the women as the one who have to take a responsibility for the household and the economic force as labor. And this is all the information that we would like to give you today about the topic of the Singaporean policy towards women. If you guys have any questions on the topic or something that you would like to know more, please click in the link below. Thank you so much for watching. This is me, Parisha Sambang. Have to say goodbye for you today. See you next time. Thank you.